At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Hyundai Elantra. It's not just new, it's better. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By the Better Network, Verizon, better matters. By Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in-store or online at mybobs.com. Sweltering days and sweltering nights in New York. Perfect time to come out to a ball game. It's the summer game meant to be played in the heat as the Mets wrap up their series with the Cardinals. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the rubber game of their series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Jose Reyes came out of yesterday's first game with an intercostal strain, had a shot yesterday, so Jose will be out at least a couple of days. That means an opportunity for the people's choice, Wilmer Flores, to get some playing time. Now, Wilmer started the second game against a left-hander, had 2 hits against a lefty, 1 against a righty, and now he'll get a chance to play for at least a couple of days against all kinds of pitching.
Well, Wilmer is like a cat. He has 9 lives. He gets another shot here, and he deserves it. He's had a terrific month of July, hitting .340 with the 7 home runs. That .340 is 7th in the National League for the month of July. So he's been red hot. And what I liked yesterday, what I saw against the right-hander and the left-hander, was that he used the opposite field, Gary. And when Wilmer uses the opposite field, he has success.
And we'll see if he can do that against a tough right-hander tonight in Adam Wainwright, whose season got off to a poor start, but boy, has he hit his stride.
Well, for you Mets fans, I'm going to skip 2006 when he made 61 appearances in relief. Since then, he's made 241 starts for these Redbirds. He's gone 130 and 72 in his career, and he's been one of the best pitchers of his generation.
He'll go up against Logan Verrett, who had a very encouraging start his last time out against Miami.
So much better the last start, throwing more strikes, more aggressive, pitched in the 6th inning, only gave up a couple of runs. He will need a similar performance tonight.
Mets half game in front of the Cardinals in the wild card standings. They'll try and get the rubber game of the series tonight. It's the Mets and Redbirds from Citi Field. All the action on SNY. Ball on SNY is brought to you by your Tri-State Chevy dealers, who have invited 80 children from Harlem RBI to tonight's Mets game. Show them how you're making someone's day extra special. Submit your photo or story on ChevyOffers.com/dayitforward. No fees on all Mets tickets now through Thursday. That's tomorrow, July 28th. This limited time offer applies to all remaining regular season home games in 2016, including this weekend's Mike Piazza Hall of Fame celebration. To purchase tickets, visit Mets.com/no fees. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Nationals won their game this afternoon as they defeated the Indians 4-1 behind Steven Strasburg. He's now 14-1 on the year. Blake Trinan got his first major league save in that game. Daniel Murphy hit his 20th home run. So the Mets at the moment 5 games behind the Nats in the National League East. Mets and Cardinals, rubber game of the series. First pitch is coming right up. Yesterday, capped by Jeurys Familia's 52nd consecutive regular season save, third longest streak all time, as the Mets and Cardinals split a well-pitched doubleheader. And now the rubber game tonight on another sultry evening in New York.
How about that music? I thought I was listening to Ben-Hur.
Got to get that chariot moving.
Spartacus.
Hyundai starting lineup for the Cardinals. Greg Garcia has been hot. Big day for Jed Jerko yesterday. Homered in both ends of the doubleheader. Cardinals, the leading home run hitting team in the league, second highest scoring team in the league. The highest scoring team in the league will be here tomorrow, the Colorado Rockies, to start a 4-game series. So the Mets staff with some work to do, trying to get the rubber game of this series from the Cardinals. And Logan Barrett takes the mound.
Well, this is when the butterflies are really rolling, folks, when you're a starting pitcher before you deliver that first warm-up pitch. Verrett, we talked about his last start. Think about it this way. Noah Syndergaard with 100 miles an hour got the loss yesterday. Bartolo Colon with his dipsy doodle, as Keith calls it, he got the win. Logan Verrett, more of a dipsy doodle kind of pitcher.
He had a shutout going into the 6th inning in that last start in Miami before Christian Yelich took him deep. And Verrett wound up with a no decision, a game the Mets wound up winning.
Very nice shot right there. I love this. Oh, makes me want to get back in the box.
Certainly getting up close and personal. Gives you an idea of the height of the mound, doesn't it?
Height of the mound, and the one thing that I get when I go on a mound now, occasionally, boy, it's far away. 60 feet 6 inches is a long way. Didn't seem like that 30 years ago.
You know, when we shoot the pitcher normally from center field, it really foreshortens the distance in your mind's eye between the mound and home plate. But the shot we had right there, I think, gave a little better idea just how far you're throwing the ball, trying to get it into a precise location.
Well, I think whenever I watch Logan Verrett, guys, I don't know if you feel the same way. Is he aggressive with his fastball? There's the line he draws to make sure that he keeps that straight line from the rubber to the plate. Is command of his fastball. That works with everybody. But is he throwing his slider for a strike when he's behind in the count? That is key for Logan.
And we'll take a look at the Metsy defense. Your Lexus Metsy defense. Conforto, his 3rd start in center field. The experiment continues. The bat needed in the lineup. Next, infield. Wilmer starting at 3rd. Reyes, of course, is day-to-day, so Wilmer is in there. So you folks, you Met fans, he's there for you. I know you're happy. And now next. Oh, d'Arnaud, you tricked me. I thought it was someone else. d'Arnaud behind the plate. We're ready to roll.
Get you in the truck, get you to direct the game next time.
Is that the word in the truck? I think it's wipe, isn't it?
Greg Garcia will lead things off for the Cardinals. Garcia played 2nd base and 3rd base in the doubleheader yesterday, went 3 for 7. And the first pitch of the game from Verrett misses up and away for ball 1. Garcia, Diaz, and Piscotty for the Cardinals, who start the day 6 games over 500. Mets are 7 games over 500. And Verrett gets the off-speed pitch in for a strike, 1-1. Garcia, utility man who has become a regular for the Cardinals with the injuries to Matt Carpenter and Johnny Peralta. And the curveball misses, 2-1. For Verrett, it's his 9th start of the year, his 27th appearance overall. He's become a regular member of the Mets rotation with the season-ending surgery to Matt Harvey. Lifted out to left. Cespedes angles back, and that's the first out of the night. And the way that Sandy Alderson is talking about what moves the Mets might make moving toward the trading deadline 5 days away, it would appear as though Logan Verrett is probably going to be in the Mets rotation the rest of the way.
Well, it was a nice pitch there. He took a little off his fastball, and that got Garcia a little bit out front.
1 out and nobody on now. Aledmys Diaz, who's 1 for 8 in the series. Diaz, the rookie from Cuba, having a great year, and he lines one to Flores. And the ball catches him. 2 out.
Well, that ball is ripped, but can't guide it.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Stephen Piscotty. Piscotty having a terrific year, 0 for 4 in the doubleheader yesterday. Played just the first game. So you want to be manning the hot corner. Here's how hot it is.
Lightning quick hands, folks.
Curveball down, 2-0 to Piscotty. Key is, can you blow that bubble while you're catching the line drive?
interesting defensive alignment, even though it's 3-0 here. Wilmer Flores now, this whole inning, they've had him hugging the line. Except for Garcia, of course, the left-handed hitter.
And there's ball 4 to Piscotty. So after the Mets staff did not walk a batter in the second game of the doubleheader last night, Verrett issues a first inning walk, and that's been one of the problems for Verrett this season. A guy who has to have pinpoint control has had too many walks.
To me, that's just the concentration thing, because I've done it many times before. You get the first 2 outs, next thing you know, you're 2-0, and you miss with that one pitch, and guys on base.
So Matt Holliday will bat with a man aboard. Holliday 0 for 5 in the doubleheader yesterday, hitting just .235, but 17 home runs for the veteran Holliday. And Verrett gets the outside corner for a strike. 91 from Logan. That's about where he's been topping out. Occasionally will hit a 92 or a 93. But you talk about Flores guarding the line when you have a guy not throwing as hard as some of your other starters. That certainly makes sense. And quickly 0-2 to Holliday. Well, Bartolo Colon had his way with this Cardinal lineup in the second game last night.
They continued to not believe that he could keep darting that outside corner to the right-handed hitters.
They sure did, and they took a lot of fastballs. And you look at the charts, and we've had it up there that Colon throws 80+% fastball, and they took a lot of fastballs on the outside corner. It was amazing.
Mike Matheny was raving about Colon's movement last night. The way he's able to get that two-seamer to come back over the outside corner. 1-2 to Holliday.
Now it's interesting there. Darno with the call for the fastball away against Holliday. Adams up on deck. I would prefer, if Logan Verrett was pitching and he doesn't throw that hard, 0-2 every time that pitch should be in. Off the plate in. To push Holliday off. And then go back with the fastball away or slider away.
1-2 coming. And Holliday yanks one down the left field line. Foul.
Well, Ronnie, we were talking after the first game of the doubleheader about Syndergaard and how he got hurt to right center field from a lot of right-hand hitters, and that Syndergaard needs to throw inside. Now, he is much more intimidating when he throws inside with his velocity. You know, to keep just back the hitter off. Not trying to say hit him, but push him off the plate.
Yeah, make him aware of because what happens is that you get away with mistakes away.
Exactly.
What's also characterized Syndergaard lately is a preponderance of foul balls that have run up his pitch count. Holliday strikes out on the fastball away, and Verrett gets through the first inning. A walk and one left. Mets come to bat against Adam Wainwright on the bottom of the first at Citi Field with no score. There's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Wilmer Flores playing third base and hitting sixth against a right-hand pitcher. Michael Conforto stays in the 7-hole. James Loney again hitting cleanup. Neil Walker trying to fight his way through a slump back in there at second base. As the Mets face the 34-year-old Adam Wainwright.
Well, he has turned his season around. You see those Toyota numbers, they really don't tell the story. His first 3 or 4 starts, he could not get anyone out, and he has changed it around with that good cutter and good sinking fastball he's using now.
Curtis Granderson leading off, 2 for 4 last night. 6 for 17 over the last 4 games. And their curveball from Wainwright misses low and in, 2-0. Of course, that curveball is one that Wainwright has always had. Maybe a little slower than it used to be.
A little slower and a little bigger.
A little more sink on his fastball, Ron.
Yep.
Mixing it up, right? But you know what? The good pitchers, there's a reason why when they have they're able to make the adjustment, they have the intelligence to adjust.
Well, Wainwright's had to fight through a lot of physical woes over the last few years. Last year was the torn Achilles that cost him most of the season, and you see that his comeback has not been smooth, but lately he's looked a lot more like himself. 3-1 to Granderson, and Curtis gets one in the air to right center. And Tommy Pham takes charge of it. 1 away.
And we'll take a look at the Cardinal defense, and that's the department of Coors Light. The veteran out there, Matt Holliday, batting champ over in right field. The new budding star and Stephen Piscotty in right. On the infield, Jorko been red hot. The 2 youngsters up the middle for the Cardinals are very impressive. And of course, the great defensive catcher Yadier Molina.
But very much against type. The Cardinals lead the league in errors. They've had all sorts of defensive woes, and we saw some of those last night. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, and he takes up and away for ball 1.
I mean, it's an historical season for them error-wise.
A big shift on Cabrera with Diaz way up the middle.
Stroke just over the bag, but just foul. Third base umpire Mike Winters on top of it. Almost an accidental hit for Cabrera.
It's kind of a half swing.
Ronnie, you talked about the historical nature of the Cardinals' error total. They lead the majors in errors. The last time the Cardinals led the major leagues in errors was 1958. Always been known as a good defensive franchise. That's driven deep to right center field. Over goes Piscotty in the gap. It's over his head and off the wall. Cabrera digging for second. Piscotty's got a great arm, and Cabrera's out. Stephen Piscotty, who threw 94 miles an hour as a pitcher at Stanford, showed off his arm, and he guns down Cabrera, trying to stretch it into a double.
Well, a lot of people have great arms, but they're inaccurate. Piscotty right here, right on the money. And if you're Cabrera, you got to try to push the envelope a little bit. Yes, you got a club struggling to score. Not a bad try. Just it took a perfect throw to get him.
Wainwright appreciative.
This series so far leading the league in runners thrown out the bases.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Cespedes 1 for 8 in the doubleheader last night, and he grounds one right at the second baseman. Garcia with the easy hop, and Wainwright, with help from his right fielder, gets through the opening inning. No score as we go to the second at Citi Field. Second inning, Matt Adams leads off for St. Louis and takes a fastball for a strike. Adams 0 for 3 last night and famously got thrown out at the plate trying to score from first base on a double.
Greatest 2 minutes in sports.
That's hard.
Shouldn't say that. He'd come up here and pinch my head off in a second.
I'll defend you.
Okay.
They charge the mound. I got it covered.
We're all in your corner, Ron.
2 old guys trying to go up against a big hoss. Yeah, that seems like it's going to work for us.
Just run.
Yeah, that's a problem too. Maybe.
Yeah, Jerko on deck, and then Yadier Molina for the Cardinals in the second. 3 infielders on the right side against Big City Matt Adams. And the curveball got him. Logan Barrett really making use of that curveball. That's his second strikeout.
Well, the person wearing the number has changed, but the style of pitching hasn't changed too much.
From Dylan G to Logan Barrett.
Good breaking ball. Back door.
Saw Dylan starting for Kansas City last night.
Chris Young came in to relieve him. He gave up, what, 5 runs in 5 innings.
Yeah, they lost 13-0. But the good news on the other side of that ledger, as it's nubbed up the first baseline and it'll go fair. How often do you see that happen? Every once in a while you get that side action and a foul ball becomes a fair ball. And Jerko is retired for the second out.
The old sidewinder. And as an infielder, Gary, when you get a cue ball like this, oh, this is just extraordinary. That's like a.
It's a Massey.
Yes, it is. Very good. I was good.
It's a Minnesota Fats.
Jeez. Jackie Gleason.
Willie Mosconi.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Molina. I was going to say the other side of that Kansas City loss yesterday. Tyler Skaggs came back for the Angels off Tommy John surgery. First start back, 7 scoreless.
I know, that was great.
Molina 2 for 4 yesterday, and he drives one to left center for a base hit. Cespedes awkwardly cuts it off, and Molina will stop at first base. Cespedes still not moving 100% in the outfield.
But I still feel, Gary, you know, he's a little dinged up, but he knows the runner, and so he can play it a little more conservatively here. Here's the base hit. Too much plate. And you can see not moving grand, but he knows he's got a slow runner.
Do you think he was deking Molina, trying to tempt him to try for second? There's Tommy Pham, the center fielder, 2 for 7 yesterday in the doubleheader. So if you're a pitcher, can you create this much spin? That's what Jerko got off the bat.
That's a lot. Look at that. Oh. That's very unfortunate.
Does Statcast give you spin rates for hits?
Well, they'll come up with it at some point. But think about it in this way, as far as Verrett's concerned. Last night he watched a doubleheader. Jerko hit 2 first pitch fastballs out for home run. Counters with a little slider and it gets him an out. Intelligent pitching by Logan. And a little luck.
He's throwing all those pitches first time through the batting order. Just threw a good changeup to Tommy Pham. Now a ball and a strike with Molina at first and 2 out, and Pham bounces 1 foul, 1 and 2.
Excuse me.
Pham just 87 big league at bats this year. Showed off his arm in center field yesterday, gunning down Curtis Granderson late in the Mets' first game loss. On the outside corner, Verrett gets him looking. 3 strikeouts through the first 2 innings for Logan. No score going to the bottom of the second. MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. An early Verizon trivia question. Which two Cardinal players were selected with Keith Hernandez to the 1980 All-Star team?
That's a good question. I got my thinking cap on. I think I got it.
I got it.
So that's the year after your MVP season.
I think you're supposed to.
Terrible year.
Gets Citi Field this Friday when the Mets take on the Rockies at 7:10 as part of Piazza Weekend. All fans in attendance will receive a Mike Piazza replica jersey courtesy of Delta Airlines. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Piazza. James Loney leads off the home second and goes after Wainwright's first pitch. Hits it toward the left field corner. It's over the head of Holliday to the wall. Loney continues to use the whole field. He's got himself an opposite field double to start the second.
Well, one of the few hitters in baseball that owns Adam Wainwright. Four-seamer away, Keith.
Went right with it, and you would think with Holliday out there, not the fleetest of foot, you would have him play. That ball didn't go to the track. You'd think you'd have him playing a little bit deeper, particularly leading off an inning. You don't want to lead off double.
To your point, Ronnie, about Loney's success against Wainwright, he's now 15 for 29 against him, hitting over 500 against Wainwright. Here's Neil Walker trying to fight his way out of what's becoming a long-term slump, and takes the first pitch, slow curve for a strike. I don't think I've ever seen Wainwright throw his curve that slow.
He's got two of them. He throws the one that he wants to for a strike, and then if he wants to punch you out, he'll throw it a little harder.
It's almost an eephus pitch.
El Duque.
And another one for a strike. 0-2.
Well,
Mets in the doubleheader, 2 for 19 with runners in scoring position.
not good.
To trail everybody in Major League Baseball in that department.
You've got to get this runner over. You got to do the little things here now. It's the dog days. You're getting real close down at the stretch run. Getting into August.
Game number 100 today.
You're at the far turn right now.
Another curveball. This one's lined into right for a base hit. Loney to third is being waved in. Piscotty's throw is cut off. Neil Walker comes through with an RBI single, and the Mets jump out to a 1-0 lead.
Well, that's how you do it right there.
One too many hooks. A pitch to waste.
Just a mistake from Wainwright.
It's not a bad pitch.
No, you got to bounce that pitch. He just, boy, Walker just went down and got it.
It's too much in the middle, outer half. You want to get on the back door. Loney does the right thing. Make sure it's not a line drive. It's over the second baseman's head. Scores easily. That ball is down and it broke, but he wanted it away more.
I mean, how often in your career did you triple up on a curveball?
Never. I mean, I'm sure I did, but very, very rarely. I mean, Wainwright knows what he has to do there. He's got to bounce that ball, but 3 in a row means that a big league hitter's seen 3 of the same pitch in a row. I never liked that. Would never throw 3 fastballs away in a row unless I was facing a pitcher.
Wilmer Flores lines one into center field for a base hit. So 3 straight hits for the Mets to start this second inning against Adam Wainwright.
And there's Wilmer, as we said in the open, using the opposite field. And I say this is the opposite field, even though it's up the middle. It's on the opposite field side of second base. The right field side of second base. And to me, that is working the opposite field. Very nicely done, Wilmer.
And well, it's a little two-seamer away, but it was up. See how it runs back inside, or at least down the middle. Terry Collins was saying if Wilmer's going to have success against right-handed pitching, he's got to be able to hit the ball the other way.
Which he's been doing against the lefties, now trying to translate that into a success against the righties, and so far so good. So 3 straight hits to start the inning, a run in, nobody out. Michael Conforto the batter, and he gets the fastball inside for ball 1.
Got this inning started. This is where if you're on the bench, you're like, let's hit for a half hour.
Very serious expression on Wainwright. He wants to stop the bleeding.
Conforto 0 for 3 yesterday, and he lifts one to center field. Pham is right there. Walker's tagging, but he's not going to go anywhere. And that's the first out. You see the home road splits for Wainwright, which is odd because the Cardinals have been much better on the road this year than they have been at home.
They have, but his worst period was early in the season in Arizona and other places where he had some of his worst games.
Here's Travis d'Arnaud, 0 for 4 last night. Batting average at .238 for the year. Walker at second, Flores at first. Well, the Mets had not faced Adam Wainwright since 2014. He missed most of last year with an Achilles. Early in Wainwright's career against the Mets, in the regular season, the Mets hit him very hard. His last 2 outings against the Mets in 2013, 2014, each time he threw 7 scoreless innings. Not tonight. Breaking ball off the plate, and it's 2-1.
Very straight up in the outfield. No gapping of d'Arnaud. Big gaps for him are wide open on both left center and right.
Logan Verrett waiting on deck. The curveball fouled at the plate, 1-2.
You know, we showed those home and away numbers for Wainwright. He threw his only shutout this season on a night at home when they were celebrating the world champion 2006 St. Louis Cardinals. So in front of all the older retired players that he played with as a rookie.
Let me just say that Met fans will always remember Adam Wainwright from 2006 coming to Flushing and getting the strikeout to end that series. But that was in a different ballpark. There's different karma now.
Oh, okay. I was feeling bad. You were looking at me like maybe I shouldn't bring this kind of stuff up.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's all part of history. But I'm just saying the page has been flipped.
Okay. Are you sure?
1-2 coming to d'Arnaud, and the cutter just off the plate, 2-2. Broom. By the way, Wainwright has not allowed a home run in the last 226 at bats against him. It's a long streak. He's actually had one longer in his career 2 years ago. May 28th, Ryan Zimmerman took him deep, so it's 2 months since he's given up a home run. And for a guy who's not a sinker ball pitcher, that's a little surprising.
It is. Well, he prides himself when he's going good. He keeps the ball out of the middle of the plate. The Mets, like any good veteran pitcher, you want to get to him early. If you dent the armor a little bit, the Mets have a chance here.
Two and two to d'Arnaud. And Travis gets a curveball, hits it down to third. Jerko gets it around the diamond to Garcia and then to Adams for the 5-4-3 double play. And the Mets settle for just the 1 run in the second inning. in New York. Mets might have had more, but for the sure hands of the Cardinal infield.
Well, he didn't get in front of it. Kind of pulled the matador there. Toro, but he made the play. And here's the turn right here. Remember now the new rules with the sliding. And the second baseman has to stay on the bag. No more of that neighborhood play anymore.
There's Adam Wainwright, a significant threat at the plate. A little sunlight in his eyes, it looks like. It's reflecting off the windows out in center field. Wainwright has 7 career home runs. And earlier this year, he did something that no pitcher had done in 115 years. He had extra base hits in 4 straight at bats. Nobody had done that as a pitcher since 1901. So he can hit.
Sometimes I think we would forget about how big Adam Wainwright is. Look at him compared with the home plate umpire Mark Wegner. I mean, it lets you know what a big man he is.
He was a great athlete growing up. Kicker and a wide receiver, all-state in Georgia.
Well, he has told me and many other people when he's on the mound, he feels like he's one of the 9 athletes on the field.
That sun is definitely an issue in his eyes. 2-2. Sun comes from behind third base, reflects off those windows, and every once in a while becomes an issue. Just off the corner from Verrett, 3-2. Drafted by the Braves, traded for J.D. Drew, right?
And Eli Marrero.
Steal.
With Ray King and Jason Marquis going with him to St. Louis.
It's turned out to be a pretty good deal for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, he was very disappointed when that happened because, you know, he's a Georgia kid. He grew up off the coast in St. Simon's Island.
Yeah, unless they grew up loving the big 3 over there, those pitchers, right?
Big Steve Avery fan growing up.
Oh, wow.
3-2 coming. Fly to foul. So he's making Verrett work.
Avery didn't last very long, did he?
Well, that's the problem. He was great. He just hurt his arm.
Yep. He might have been as talented as any one of that group.
I never faced him. He was after I was gone.
And he could hit.
I remember Lenny just telling me he was straight as a string.
Oh, Lenny. Lenny's never seen a good pitcher ever. I remember when Rick Ankiel came up, he reminded me a little bit of Avery, just the pure stuff. 95 plus, and Avery was a big athlete too.
And Ankiel could hit too.
Yes, he could.
9th pitch of the at bat to Wainwright, and he gets tied up. Did he go? He did not. Ball 4. So Verrett issues a leadoff walk to the opposing pitcher, his 2nd walk of the night.
I agree here. Check swing. No way. Good call. He's just trying to get out of the way.
Time for a look at the Quicken Loans Rocket Arms since the All-Star break.
How about those Yankees?
2 New York teams, 1-2. But if they keep winning, they can't sell, right?
8-2 in their last 10.
4 games over 500 now. 4 games out in the wild card. Greg Garcia takes inside for ball 1. Mets will see the Yankees for 4 games next week, starting Monday. 2 games here, 2 games in the Bronx.
Garcia with an on-base percentage of .451 coming into the game. That's nice for a leadoff hitter, is it not?
98 bats now as a part-time player. And he lines one to center right at Conforto. Didn't have to move an inch for the first out.
Well, Conforto passes another test.
What to you, Keith, is the biggest test for a guy playing center field who's only played on the corners in his career?
Well, I've been told by the outfielders that its easiest position of the outfield positions is center field because you have more of a view of the hitter and where it's going. You can get a better read because you're behind the pitcher, and I can attest to that. It's much the same on the infield, Gary. with the middle infielders get a better read, and I'm like a right fielder at first base on the infield. I'm a corner outfielder on the infield, and I don't get the read that the second baseman or shortstop gets.
Of course, the difficulty in center field is that the physical tool of having speed plays so much bigger than on the corner.
Yes.
Up the middle, and a base hit for Diaz. Wainwright pulls in at second as Conforto charges it nicely. And now there are 2 men on. Well, we've seen a couple of plays already from Conforto. This one was Sunday in Miami, the first batter of the game.
Yes, and he makes a heck of a play there. That's pure athleticism. He was able to get to the ball. He's got good hands. He's an athlete.
And then yesterday he deferred.
It's like, okay. Yep. Maybe it was the canary yellow on the forearm, like warning.
It's quite a recovery by Sussman.
Yes, sir,
clearly one that Conforto should have taken charge of. Here's Stephen Piscotty with 2 men on. What we haven't seen yet, and what I guess is the biggest test for a guy like Conforto, is the ball hit over his head.
Well, you know what's interesting is that. Sorry, Keith,
it's okay. Just taking a note. I think it's correct what they're doing. He's playing a very deep center field. It's easier to come in than go back. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron.
No. I was just saying that Gary's right. Whenever I think of a center fielder, I think of having just great natural gifts and then speed and all of that. But the Cardinals had Jimmy Edmonds that played center field for a long time. You would never think of him as a burner as far as speed is concerned, and he was one of the best.
Great jumps on balls, made a lot of diving catches. That was kind of his thing.
He's a top 10 kind of guy.
Well, he's the opposite of Juan Lagares. He always gets the great jumps and makes sure he's in position so he doesn't have to make the spectacular catches unless he really has to. Stephen Piscotty walked his first time up. Wainwright at second. Diaz at first with 1 out. Knocked down by d'Arnaud. Wainwright got caught in between and then goes back.
That's a heck of a play by d'Arnaud. This curve was a curve spiked in the dirt way in front. I don't know how he kept this ball. It's a breaking ball. Well, I can see how he did it now. Yes, well done. That's a tough chance, though. When a ball bounces in front of home plate, very difficult.
When a breaking ball breaks in front of the plate, Wainwright here was going to go. Look at base running going back.
One and 2 to Piscotty. And it's off the plate. Well, nobody in the league has done better with runners in scoring position than Stephen Piscotty. He's this year's Alan Craig.
There you go.
That's off the charts.
Remember that year a few years ago in the Cardinals hit .330 as a team with runners in scoring position, and Craig was up around what, 470, 480.
I want to say they were over 300 with 2 outs in runners in scoring position. It was just nuts.
2-2 coming. Struck him out. Barrett uses the changeup to get Piscotty for his 4th strikeout.
That's a couple of times now he has used that circle change to get the right-handed hitter out. A pitch that was never used in the past and used a lot now. If you keep it down, it's a good pitch.
So 2 out and 2 on. Now Matt Holliday. Reflecting sun continues to be a bit of an issue at home plate. Holliday struck out his first time up. And Barrett paints with the fastball, 0-1. Holliday's a lifetime .303 hitter. Clearly his average well down this year, but still a threat at age 36. 17 home runs, 56 driven in. Line the other way. Granderson a long way to go, and he won't get there. That's a fair ball bouncing into the corner. Wainwright scores. Diaz being waved home. The relay throw by Walker is up the line. It's a 2-run double for Matt Holliday to put the Cardinals in front 2-1.
Well, you can almost say this is a lazy little, almost a blooper, you can say. It's not hit good, but it's right down the line. Well placed, and the back runner here, Diaz, is flying around the bases. I mean, 2 outs, they're off on contact. And you note that Granderson cuts the ball off. It doesn't get to the wall. Look at Diaz fly.
Yeah, I didn't know he could run that well.
Jeez, he's motoring.
So just like that, the Cardinals in front 2-1. Big 2-out hit for Holiday, his first hit in the series. And now Matt Adams takes a curveball up and away.
You know, we talked earlier about Wainwright is a good hitting pitcher, but you can't walk the pitcher to start the inning. That's how this all started.
Yep. That's always a Cardinal sin, no matter who. You never want to walk the first batter.
It's a sin no matter who you're facing.
That's right. Let's not bring religion into it.
I was thinking birds right there. That's hit out to right field. That's toward the corner. And Granderson won't get that. Another extra base hit. That brings in Holiday. Adams slides in with an RBI double, and it's 3-1 St. Louis. So back-to-back 2-out doubles for Holiday, and Adams produced 3 runs.
And this one, Keith, kind of the same kind of deal. He didn't hit it square, kind of off the, not the end of the bat, but
yes, off the end of the bat. He's just strong. Adams is very strong. It's not a line drive. It's a, you'd call a soft liner, one hopping off the wall. And he's not exactly a Ferrari, but he gets to second base.
First 2 bases aren't the problem for Adams. We saw that, you know, 180 through 270 is where he gets in trouble. Here's Jerko, who had a comebacker his first time up, a strange one, a spinner that started out foul and wound up turning back into fair territory. Jerko homered in both games of the doubleheader yesterday after homering in both games of a Cardinal doubleheader last week.
Well, here's Adams' swing. I like his swing. He's a big, strong kid. I think he's hardly any stride and hardly any lower body. He's just such a strong guy upstairs. A beautiful swing.
Kind of like Ryan Howard a little bit.
Yeah, Ryan Howard's more stiff. He's got more of a smooth swing. His problem is staying in uniform on the field.
Well, he had the quad injury last year that short-circuited his season. Back problem this year.
Yeah, he gets dinged up.
reminds me a little bit of Matt Stairs or.
Stairs seemed to have more violence in his swing. It's a Canadian. Jerko hits it sharply. Cabrera has it with the dive. Low throw, and Loney digs it out. Nicely done on both ends. Cabrera with the diving stop. Loney with the nice pick. We'll see if the Cardinals challenge this. But for the moment, that is the third out of the inning.
Beautiful play. Don't ever think you can hide someone at first base.
No challenge. Clearly out.
First base can save more runs than you can shake a stick at.
Thursday at 7 p.m. on SNY. It's Piazza's Road to the Hall of Fame. Follow the journey of a hero and the moments that made him a legend. Presented by Tri-State Ford, Thursday starting at 7 right here on SNY. Look at that.
A brilliant night here in the big city.
Sunbeams galore. Logan Verrett now down in the game 3-1. Leads off against Adam Wainwright. It was Verrett's walk to Wainwright that set the Cardinal 3-run inning in motion. Verrett doesn't cast quite as menacing a shadow at the plate. He bounces one for Wainwright.
Nice.
Two-time Gold Glover makes the play. 1 out. Helps to be 6-7.
Yes, it does. Finished in the top 5 Cy Young voting 4 times. MVP top 20 voting 4 times. He's always in the mix.
In fact, I think he was top 3 in the Cy Young 4 times. There are only 2 other pitchers that have been top 3 4 times and never won it. Mariano Rivera and Dan Quisenberry.
Wow.
So Matt Wainwright's the only starting pitcher who's been in that elite company but never quite gotten the brass ring. Curveball misses to Granderson 1-0. Curtis fly to center his first time up. Here's a Curtis Granderson baseball card. 3rd round pick by the Tigers in 2002. First big league hit off the Chief, Freddie Garcia.
And home run off Carlos Silva, the man who would not walk a man. Great control. Sturdy right-hander for the Minnesota Twins all those years.
Curtis gets jammed and rolls one out to Garcia, who's going to cover, and Wainwright does. Granderson gets tangled up with Adams, who was a little confused on that play. Adams says, "My bad."
Yes, it is.
But it's a 4-1 put out for the 2nd out.
And Curtis was going to lose this this meeting here with Adams.
Looks like an elephant and a giraffe converging on first base.
Well, there's Adams pointing at Wainwright, basically saying, "Who's going to take it?" I mean, what's that supposed to look
It
like?
should be the first baseman. It was a late read by Adams at first base, Gary, that it was clearly the second baseman's ball. He was late getting back. He's a little bit of a lumberer. He's not quick. And the athletic Wainwright beat him to the bag. So it was the right move for Adams to get the heck out of the way.
He's the lumberer, and he's okay. Call strike to Cabrera. As Dribble hit one off the wall in right center for a base hit, but then got thrown out trying to stretch, and a good throw by Piscotty in the first. And he pulls that one down to Adams. This time he'll take it himself. Keeps Wainwright out of it. 1-2-3 inning for Wainwright after getting the lead on 3 ground ball outs. 3-1 Cardinals after 3. By the 2017 Audi A4 in your tri-state Audi dealers.
Look at that sun. Wouldn't it be nice just to be on the west side right now at an outdoor cafe, watching the sun go down?
Like Isabella's maybe over there near the Museum of Natural History.
Great choice.
Could be just sitting up on your roof.
That's true.
Nice bottle of wine. Camembert.
Or a club soda, whatever your preference is.
Club soda for you 2 days in a row.
Molina grounds one to short. Cabrera gets in front of it. And there's the first out of the top of the fourth. That brings up Tommy Pham, who took a call third strike his first time up. Getting some playing time right now. Randall Grichuk has played most of the center field for the Cardinals this year. They toyed with Colton Wong, a converted infielder, for a while in center field. Pham lifts one to center. And Conforto goes back and gets under it. 2 out. That's really the first one that's been hit over his head, but still a routine play.
He's an athlete.
So Wainwright will get his second plate appearance. Drew a walk and scored a run in the third inning. Adam Wainwright pitching for the Cardinals tonight. Yadier Molina catching. The 205th time that battery has started together. Only one battery in Cardinals history that has worked together more.
Gibson and McCarver.
Gibson and McCarver. So McCarver's here tonight working Cardinals TV.
Yeah, he's right to our right here in the booth next to us.
So great seeing him, wasn't it, Keith?
Yes. There he is. I took his spot on the roster.
Wainwright lifts one to shallow left. Cabrera calling as he goes, and that retires the side. 1-2-3 inning for Logan Verrett. Took him just 6 pitches to get there. Still 3-1 St. Louis. Well, it's time for Fashion Tips with Keith, with the Cardinals in town, with the famous birds on the bat.
There's Big Stan in red Shandies. That's a great looking uniform. Big Lou. What a handsome uniform. Look at those socks.
Here you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Number 37.
Dig it.
So do you have a particular favorite Cardinal uniform?
I loved our powder blues on the road that year. I know you didn't like them.
Not a big powder blue guy. I love the Gas House Gang's uniform. It was the first one we showed.
I like the hats with the red stripe
The
going.
white hats.
Yes, they're nice.
Yeah, white hats usually don't work, but that one really did.
Sure did. Sure did.
Well, thank you for those fashion tips.
You're welcome. There's the powder blues.
There's the evolution of the Cardinal
Yes,
uniform.
and you notice the one in the upper right, folks. It doesn't have the bird in the bat. That was 1 year, and the Cardinal fans were furious that they took the birds off and the bats off the uniforms. Those were toast after that season. Very nice.
Yoenis Cespedes leads off in the home fourth against Adam Wainwright, who's working with a 3-1 lead. Cespedes takes a cutter for a strike. Yoenis grounded out his first time up, 1 for 9 in this series. Loney and Walker to follow. Ball to strike to Cespedes. Well, the Cardinals have such a great tradition. Do you remember putting on that Cardinal uniform for the first time?
Twice. The first time you put the uniform on in the minor leagues, and they were the old flannels like Ronnie had when he was in Texas. But you wore all the minor leagues had the Cardinal birds, and they were always someone else's major leaguers' uniforms that were hand downs. So that was very prideful right there. That first time wearing a Cardinal uniform, and of course, your first game as a pro in the not as a pro, as a major leaguer, and you put that uniform on. And for me to put it on at Candlestick Park at home, in the same locker room.
Chopper for Diaz. And Cespedes retired 1 out.
So remember that Stan Musial left tickets for my father and our family his last 3 years in the big leagues when Gary and I were old enough to go to a ball game. So we were in the clubhouse, the same clubhouse that we dressed in. And I remember the locker that Stan was at, and Ken Boyer was 2 seats down. I remember sitting in between both of them. And so when I walked into that clubhouse, I looked right to that locker, and it brought back that memory.
Wow. That's awesome.
Ken Boyer rustled my hair.
Like, how you doing, kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Can you imagine an 8-year-old kid in a major league clubhouse? With, not just a major league club, but Stan Musial to your left and Ken Boyer to your right.
No, you can't.
So what year would that have been?
That would have been usual. I have team balls from 60, 61, 62, and Stan's last year was 63.
Right.
So it was the last time we went when Stan retired. At 64, they won the World Series, and Ken Boyer won the MVP.
Loney hit a double into the left field corner and scored the Mets run in the second inning. Wainwright looked vulnerable early. Not anymore. Curveball. Loney somehow able to stop the swing. 2-1. He's had 4 hits the first 6 batters against Wainwright tonight. And now he's retired 6 in a row.
Did not swing. Wayne, why do you saw? Sorry, there. Go ahead. Answer that trivia.
Well, you can answer it.
Well, here it is. Your Verizon trivia question. Which 2 Cardinals?
Do you know the answer?
I would say Ted Simmons and Gary Templeton.
Either one.
My goodness. Wow, I would not have remembered it. That's right. Ken Reitz was an all-star that year.
Third baseman. Line toward the middle of the diamond. Diaz runs it down. Wide throw, though. And that ball hits off the dugout railing. And so Loney will have to stay at first. Well, nice effort by Diaz to get to that ball, but The throw not close.
I think what
Be an infield hit for Loney.
Diaz had a little time maybe to get set because Loney doesn't run well. Tough play. Heck of a play getting to the ball. It might have been the spinorama, might have been good here.
Keith, when an infielder's body is moving so sharply to his left like that, how do you pick up your target to avoid that kind of a wide throw?
You've always got to overcompensate, Gary, and throw it when you think it's the right line for the target. You've got to do another 10 feet in the other direction because your momentum's going to carry it. You know, you're running out, so it's going to make you've really got to overcompensate on the throw.
It's like pitchers who really fall off the mound too much. They have to learn to fall less because it'll make it easier for them to throw strikes. That was the same kind of thing for Diaz.
Tough play.
Everything going away from first base.
So Loney is 2 for 2 tonight, continues his ownership of Wainwright. Now 16 hits and 30 career at bats against Adam Wainwright.
It's like Tony Gwynn against me.
Well, first at bat for Walker, 3 straight hooks. Got a base hit. Not getting any hooks so far, but not getting any strikes.
Walker had a base hit to drive in the Mets run, snapped an 0 for 13 stretch, just his 3rd hit in his last 40 at bats. Maybe it's the one that gets him going. Walker was so good the first 2 months for the Mets, but his numbers have fallen off sharply over the last 2 months. This is really the part of the game plan for the Mets as we move toward the trading deadline. The figuring being that you have a lot of offensive players who can be better. And Walker is one of those because he's shown that he can. That's what Terry Collins said to his team the other day. Grouped them and said, look, that's line off Wainwright's glove. And everybody's safe. A bullet off Wainwright on a 3-0 pitch. An infield hit for Walker.
I had a sneaking suspicion that Terry was going to let Walker swing. Got a base hit. He's been struggling. Get a fastball. Oh boy, that could have got his.
He was lucky to get his glove in front of that.
Yep.
It's so scary when the ball is centered by a hitter and it's coming right back at you. You really are. It's just luck after that.
So 2 straight infield hits. And the Mets have the tying runs aboard with Flores coming up.
Well, they had the trifecta in the 2nd inning. All 3 of them got base hits. Wilmer's got to put a bookend on it to repeat it.
Wilmer had a base hit to center field his first time up. Now up to 353 in the month of July. And Molina and Wainwright want to talk about it. At the end of June, Wilmer Flores was hitting .235. But since the calendar page turned to July, 353. And a chance to do some damage here with 2 aboard. Cutter on the corner, 0-1. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light, and there is that month for Flores. Not just the 353 average, but the 7 home runs.
The last 2 Julys have been very interesting for Wilmer, haven't they?
Well, right about this time last year.
Pretty impressive OPS.
Certainly everything changed in the public perception of Wilmer Flores this week last year when he appeared to have been traded, reacted emotionally, and then 2 nights later hit as big a home run as the Mets had last year to get their season pointed in the right direction.
Boy, there is a lot of stuff going on. Yadier Molina, I don't know, he's a little upset. Maybe we want to keep Loney close. Loney's not going anywhere.
Neil Walker was spent a lot of time talking to Tom Goodwin.
Adams playing so far off the line at first base.
Now you can take a lead, as you see. Let me get my. You see where Adams is right here. You can take your lead out here and then rely on your first base coach if he tries to creep behind.
Romer lays off the curveball, and it's 2-2. Keith, we waited 4 months for that scribble.
We have had, folks, the most difficult time getting the telestrator up and running. We've had it put in. It didn't work. It would work. It would stop. And then when they put it up, we mounted it. They mounted it in the wrong place. And now here it is right here. And we told them, I told them to mount it right here. And they mounted it here. And I got to do this. I mean, come on. I got to watch the ball game.
Grounded down to third. Jerko steps on the bag. The throw on a hop. Adams can't handle it. And Flores is safe at first. Loney's out at third. Does he not realize that?
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Okay. Just checking. That's the second out of the inning. 5 unassisted, but a terrible throw by Jerko.
Terrible throw by Jerko. Not much on it. And Adams, when you do that swoop up with your glove, it's just you just got to be a little more. Like it's not. That's a great analysis. You got to be a little more. Ugh.
I think you should use the word lumberer again because that really worked for you the last time. So now Conforto with 2 out and 2 on. Michael flying to center his first time up. Walker now at second. Flores at first with 2 out. And Conforto takes the cutter for a strike.
You know, Jerko had more time to step on the bag and reset quickly and throw.
Well, this comes back to the question I asked last night. Everyone keeps telling me all these players are so versatile. They can play everywhere. Can they? I mean, really, can they?
Well, you can put them different places. Question is, how well can they?
I mean, that's first grade stuff. Stepping on the bag and firing it over there.
Well, you got a young hitter right here. He just dropped a serious hammer on him, and I know that gets your attention. It was a good pitch. 0-2. Good pitch to come up and in off the plate to move him off and then do whatever you want to do with him after that.
Came in with the cutter and he fouls it off. Now, among pitchers with 100 starts in their career, only 4 active pitchers have a better lifetime ERA than Adam Wainwright.
130, 72 in his career.
Again, the 0-2 and the curveball misses. By the way, when Neil Walker got that infield hit off Wainwright's glove, the first time in Neil Walker's major league career he's had a hit on a 3-0 pitch.
Really?
That's something, right?
Yeah. That's not getting a lot of hit signs.
Been in the big leagues for 7 years. And Conforto takes strike 3 called as Wainwright paints the inside corner to end the inning. First strikeout of the night for Wainwright, and the Mets strand a couple. Still 3-1. To you by your Tri-State Ford dealers, who invite you to test drive a new Ford. You'll discover why Ford is the total package. We go to the 5th inning with the Cardinals up 3-1. We check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, as Michael Conforto continues to try and learn center field, he's been watching a lot of Juan Lagares play the position, and why not? He's one of the best, if not the best, in the National League. And the one thing that Conforto has picked up from Lagares is just how low he gets during the pitch, really gets into his legs, and that, Conforto says, is what really allows him to explode and get those good jumps on each and every pitch, really. So that's something Conforto's been working on. You'll see him creep in, get low, just like Lagares does.
In the air to right field, Granderson ranges over and retires Greg Garcia one away. Don't usually watch outfielders setups that much, but that seems like a lot of movement in for an outfielder. Is that atypical?
I think as he, my feeling is, as he gets more and more comfortable, you'll see less movement, Gary, because he's just, you know, he's out there for the first few times, and he wants to be buttoned up out there.
It's uncharted waters for him, that's for sure.
So he's alert every pitch. I played with center field. As you look back there, barely looking at you.
Well, this has been our first extended look at Aledmys Diaz these 3 games. You have to be very impressed with what you've seen.
Yeah, he's quite an athlete. He's got to button up his defense a little bit. I didn't know he could run like that. When he scored from first on that double by Holiday, that was impressive.
He's hit 2 bullets tonight, lined out to third, single to center. He scored a run. And he hits another bullet to left center. This one's going to go up the gap, off the base of the wall. And Diaz pulls it to second base with a 1-out double.
Well, let me tell you something. This kid is a hitter. He's got a nice compact swing, change up, right down Broadway. I don't care if it's down Broadway. He's got a beautiful swing. He gets right, squares it up. He's got a chance to be a really, really star player.
It's really amazing. This is a guy who, because of situations after he defected from Cuba, was suspended from baseball for a year, couldn't play at all, went into the Cardinals minor league system and was so unimpressive last summer that they took him off the 40-man roster in the middle of the year. Anybody in baseball could have had him.
Wow. He's a player. He's a hitter, I should say. And his defense, you know, I talked with Tim McCarver, and they talk about his defense. He made all those errors, a lot of those errors early in the year. McCarver told me that he has been playing a splendid shortstop.
Scotty fouls one off his leg, 0-2.
Very compact swing. Little take back right to, look at that, beautiful balance. There is nothing wrong with that swing.
You're right, Keith. If you're teaching a swing, that's what you teach.
Well, there are 3 rookie shortstops in the National League this year who should all be in competition for National League Rookie of the Year honors. We'll see one of them tomorrow in Trevor Story, Corey Seager with the Dodgers, and Aledmys Diaz. They're all legitimate Rookie of the Year candidates. How do you choose among them? Trevor Story will be here tomorrow, leading the National League at home runs.
It's a National League rookie record.
Look at
27 home runs.
Look at the RBIs.
For a shortstop, the major league rookie record for a shortstop is 30. Nomar Garciaparra.
That's right.
And he is certainly within range of that.
Well, he got off to that red hot April, did he not?
Well, he started in spring training.
Well, record setting that first week of the season.
Yep.
0-2 to Piscotty, and it's off the plate. Well, the Rockies are only 4 games under 500. They're still legitimately on the fringes of the wild card race. Series begins with a day game tomorrow. A little odd. 12:30 our coverage tomorrow. They're getting no hit through the first 5 innings by Dylan Bundy of the Orioles.
Been waiting for that kid for quite some time, haven't they?
Well, they finally gave him a chance to start after working him out of the bullpen. Piscotty pulls the curveball foul. 4-game series with the Rockies. Mets will face the rookie left-hander Tyler Anderson, a University of Oregon Duck. That makes our director Dan Barr very happy. Tyler Chatwood Friday, Jorge De La Rosa the lefty on Saturday, Chad Bettis Sunday. And note Bartolo Colon pitching Saturday on 3 days rest. It'll be the first time in 11 years that Bart has made a start on 3 days rest. And Verrett strikes out Piscotty for the second out. Piscotty's had a rough series so far with the bat. It's 5 strikeouts for Verrett. Second time he's gotten Piscotty.
The 2-seamer in. Little late sink.
There's Matt Holliday, who drove in the first 2 St. Louis runs with a double in the third. Had one down the right field line that brought home 2, and then Matt Adams had one in the same general location to bring home Holliday. That's pulled down to third. Flores playing right along the line. Perfect spot to be. And that retires the side. That gets Verrett around the Diaz double. Halfway through at Citi Field. Cardinals 3, Mets 1. History for the St. Louis Cardinals. 11 World Series titles, more than any National League franchise. And recently they've been in the postseason 12 of the last 16 seasons. Won the last 3 National League Central titles. Won 100 games last year. Travis d'Arnaud takes a strike on the outside. d'Arnaud bounced into a double play to end the second inning when the Mets got their only run. Logan Verrett on deck, and then Curtis Granderson against Adam Wainwright. And the curveball. d'Arnaud stopped the swing. 1-1.
So I was thinking, guys, tell me if you agree or disagree. Mets aren't going to get a Cespedes kind of hitter this year. They had Uribe and Johnson help them. Is it Conforto and d'Arnaud that are going to be the difference if they have one of those runs like they had last year? Are those the 2 bats that can improve and be a big part of this offense?
I think I put Walker in that group.
Walker too. Okay.
Travis lines one the other way for a base hit. So the Mets get the leadoff man on in the home 5th. We were talking about the Cardinals and their persistent success over the years. Their manager Mike Matheny knows all about that.
It was culture and excellence, and I think that, and I know that that comes down from the top with our ownership group right down through our front office, and just trying to have that continuity of the expectation. We pass it on to every kid that has the honor of wearing this logo, that it's not just a baseball team, it's an organization that stands for something, and the way that we go about our business does make a difference. And yes, it is about ability, it is about competing, but we also feel there's a way you should go about the game on the field, also off the field, that gives us a greater chance of success, that represents our organization and our fan base in a way that keeps people coming back. And our job is to put butts in the seats, and our job is to put a good product out there and continue a tradition and hopefully keep passing on that culture and that excellence.
Mike Matheny, the first manager in Major League history to take his team to the postseason each of his first 4 years.
And he's under a lot of ridicule at home as far as the handling of I got friends in St. Louis. The fans have been on him a little bit about how they, with Trevor Rosenthal, how they just put him on the DL. It's getting to the point now, Gary, where people aren't as patient, even in the Midwest.
Well, let me ask you this question as Curtis Granderson steps in after the Verrett sacrifice. Tell me a franchise where the fans uniformly love their manager. I'm not sure there is one.
Right. There's always
even guys like Bruce Bochy and Mike Scioscia who've been fixtures, and it just doesn't exist anymore. Every fan base is critical of their manager.
Yes. They don't like Bochy in San Francisco? Is he the closest?
I hear negative stuff all the time from Giants fans.
There's a million John McGraws out there.
Exactly.
Oh, well. No one knows what they're talking about.
Well, it's just that everybody has an opinion. It's a lot easier for them to express it than it's ever been before.
The rage of the inarticulate. That's what we're going through. Beautiful.
It's well put. 1-1 to Granderson, who's flied out and grounded out. The good news about that is it means that people are invested in their team's success and they take it very seriously, and that the sport needs that. You don't want people not to care. They care very much.
It doesn't help the Cardinals, who are 25-30 at home, and they usually always kill it in St. Louis.
They're 11 games over 500 on the road this year, which is pretty stunning. Curveball by Wainwright, 2-2 to Granderson.
Well, Curtis chases this one.
Runner in scoring position with one out. And the curveball just missed. Full count.
I can't tell you how's a hitter or a great curveball like that, and you drop it on the outside corner, right-hander. I'm a left-hand hitter, and it just misses. It gets your attention, because if it was a strike, he dropped a nasty one on you and you're struck out. It puts you in a defensive mode.
That's Carlos Beltran. That's 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Nubber. Jerko comes in to get it, breaking for third. Darno. Granderson is out for the second out. So 2 out and a runner at third, and that's Dribble Cabrera coming up.
I'm wondering if they where was Garcia, the second baseman, always playing in the pull. So where's the shortstop is breaking, so there's no one at the bag, so Darno can take that big lead, wait for the throw in advance. So it's good heads up.
So now Cabrera, who had a base hit, thrown out, trying to stretch it, then grounded out. 1 for 2 tonight. As Dribble snapped his long offer with runners in scoring position last night. And he takes a fastball strike. Your 4th, 5th inning recap. Cardinals got 3 off Logan Verrett, a couple of 2-out doubles by Holiday and Adams producing the 3 runs. Wainwright's given up 7 hits, but just the 1 run. As the Mets continue to struggle to get that big hit 1 for 6 tonight with runners in scoring position.
He's had a good curveball today, Ronnie.
Yes, he has. And he's got 3 different kinds. The one he'll throw that breaks in the dirt, the one he'll throw to left-handers that will break down and in, and the one you talked about, that back door to lefties. I've always thought Cabrera's a good breaking ball hitter. He'll hit that breaking ball from the righties to the left side.
Wainwright ahead 0-2. Molina sets up inside. A little bit low. 1-2.
It's about as hard as you'll see Wainwright throw right there, 93 miles an hour.
This is the out he wants. He wants Cespedes. No part of Cespedes with a chance to tie the ball game or put the Mets ahead.
Garneau with 3rd and 2 out.
Double up inside, Keith.
Looks like it. Yep. And that one catches the corner, and Cabrera's caught looking to end the inning. Same way the 4th inning ended, that's the way the 5th inning ends as well. Conforto in the 4th, Cabrera in the 5th. After 5, 3-1 St. Louis. Not too much traffic on the bridge. It's moving.
Very unusual.
The G-Dub. The Henry Hudson.
Matt Adams leads off in the 6th inning. And he skies one out to left. Cespedes barely has to move. 1 pitch, 1 out for Logan Verrett in the 6th inning. Time to check in with the studio. Larry Ridley has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Poor Gino. He really thought he was going to be the starter.
Did he?
I think in his heart he really did.
Not if you watch this channel. It Fitzpatrick on every day.
Ted Jerko 0 for 2 tonight.
Now are you like, whew, relieved?
You know when I start worrying about the NFL?
Yeah.
Opening day.
Who the Jets open with this year?
No idea. I am the least interested in football of any football fan.
Okay.
You know.
I love their head coach.
Yeah, he's impressive.
He is very impressive. I think he's a He's an attitude changer. I really like him. I like everything I hear about him. Everything I listen to him talk. I love everything about him. Let's go Jets.
Dave Freed, who knows the NFL schedule by heart, says they open against the Bengals. He knows. They'll probably be there. He'll desert us that day. Bouncer down to third. Foul ball. Jed Jerko homered in both games of a doubleheader yesterday and last week as well. First Cardinal to do that twice in a season since Stan Musial.
Wow.
And you know, that's back in the days when they were playing a lot more doubleheaders.
Yes.
I mean, the idea that somebody could tie or approach any kind of doubleheader record in this day and age is remarkable. Foul tipped. And held by d'Arnaud. 6 strikeouts for Verrett.
Well, he went upstairs with the fastball. Didn't get it way up and in, but tied him up.
Verrett's throwing a nice ball game. He just had that one little hiccup in that third inning.
Well, we always mention the quality start. You get a quality start every 5th day from Logan Verrett. Got to be happy.
There's Molina grounding one to Cabrera. And so an easy inning for Logan Verrett. He threw just 7 pitches. Middle of the 6th at Citi Field. 3-1 St. Louis. Behind the scenes look at Jets camp with exclusive interviews, special features, player profiles, and updates straight from Florham Park is Todd Bowles, who Keith greatly admires, and the Jets kick off training camp on Jets Nation Inside Camp. Premieres Sunday at 8, only on SNY. Some of the young fans on a warm night at Citi Field looking for the Mets to rally, down 3-1.
Best part of summer games, isn't it?
Yes, always in the summer. You always notice the lot of the tank tops are out.
Mets have the heart of the batting order up against Wainwright in the home 6th. And Cespedes with a big swing at a curveball, 0-1. Cespedes up twice, is grounded to second, grounded to short. Loney and Walker to follow for the Mets in the 6th. Wainwright's had plenty of trouble to work around. It's got 3 straight hits to start the second, but scored only 1 run. They left a couple stranded in the 4th, got a leadoff hit in the 5th. Unable to cash in either time. Cespedes lines one toward the middle, a base hit. They finally got a curveball to hit from Wainwright, and the Mets have their 8th hit of the night.
Boy, he's a good breaking ball hitter, and he's just a good hitter, but
that stayed too much in the middle. Well, that had some late break, didn't it? But still too much of the plate. Cespedes likes that. Breaking ball is right. Stays back. If you miss middle in, you're asking for trouble.
So now Wainwright has to deal with his personal nemesis, James Loney, who with his 2 for 2 tonight is now 16 for 30 against Wainwright. That's 533 if you're keeping score. Only had a 9-game hitting streak stopped in the nightcap last night. Starting another one today. And he lifts one out to left center. Pham and Holiday, and Pham takes charge of it. Cespedes back to first, 1 out. So Neil Walker, we mentioned last time up, he hit that liner off Wainwright's glove for an infield hit. His first ever major league hit on a 3-0 count. I'll take it one step further. More information. Thank you, Mr. Ed. It's the first time that Neil Walker has ever put a ball in play on 3-0 in his major league career.
wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing to me.
7 years in the major leagues, never put a ball in play on 3-0 before.
Well, think about it this way. There are some players that will never swing 3-0 their entire career. They're just that kind of guy. But when you're in a struggle like Neil is, you know you're going to get a fastball from Wainwright. Why not take advantage of it?
And Terry's one of those managers that we've been around long enough. He likes to give the 3-0 sign more frequently than most managers.
But even if you get a 3-0 green light, if you've never done it before, what does it take to change your mindset so that you go out there and swing the bat?
Well, you can't overswing. The whole thing is, okay, if I'm getting the 3-0 hit, son, I'm going to look middle in and try to hit a home run. And then you try to hit the ball out of the next, out in the Flushing Bay. You just got to stay within yourself. But also, Garrett, is if it's a 1-run ball game and the runner's in scoring position where you can tie the game, it's a 3-0 count. The pitcher's going to keep the ball away, I think 99 out of 100 times. A base hit ties the ball game. Then you don't have to go for the long ball. You look for a ball to drive up the middle.
Which is what Walker did. He almost took Wainwright's head off. Fortunately, Wainwright got his glove up on it. Flips the curveball in for a strike, 2-2.
Now you would want your big power hitters to be looking to drive the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah. Right, that's what we've seen Granderson do often on 3-0. Walker's first 2-hit game in 3 weeks. Looking to build on that with Cespedes at first and 1 out. He takes the curveball in the dirt. Molina knocks it down. It's 3-2. Wainwright has not walked a batter tonight. Struck out only 2. He's given up 8 hits. So the Mets have been putting the ball in play against him. Cespedes at first and 1 out with the bad wheel. Not running. And the curveball just missed, ball 4. And the Mets have 2 men on. First walk of the night for Wainwright, and the tying runs are on base for Flores.
That's one of those pitches where if you make it as a pitcher, boy, you're styling. But if you don't, you put yourself in harm's way.
Now Flores came up in the same spot in the 4th inning, 2 on and 1 out, and headed to a fielder's choice. Wilmer's He's 1 for 2 tonight, 4 for 7 in this series. Takes the cutter out of the strike zone for ball 1.
Wainwright likes to pitch to situation. So what he's trying to do here is he wants Flores to either try to pull that cutter, or he's going to go down and in with a two-seamer. He wants him to hit a ground ball to try to get out of this inning.
Another cutter away, and now it's 2-0.
Well, here's a dicey pitch for Wainwright.
Michael Conforto on deck. So Robles about to start loosening up. The Mets work down toward the bottom of the batting order. Two and 0 to Flores. He foul tips it 2-1.
Just went right after him.
Logan Moretz pitched well and had just the one bad inning. It's trying to make up for that. With the tying runs on base and 1 out. And Flores lifts one left field. Holiday drifting back. Has room. 2 out. Tagging at second, Cespedes, and he moves over to third.
Well, that's where Wilmer likes it. Down and middle in. And he got it towards the end of the bat, and that's where he's angry there. This is was his happy area right here. Look at set up away. It's a hanging slider, and he got under it. He did not get out in front. He was right on it. He just got under it.
So now 2 out, runners at the corners, and Michael Conforto coming up. Conforto is flied out and taking a call third strike, 0 for 2.
Pitcher's got to be careful here with Conforto. He's got that bad batting average up there, but you make a mistake, he can lose one on you.
And the first pitch curveball in for a strike.
Whenever you're facing a young hitter, you know that you're going to have that freebie, that breaking ball you can throw in for a strike. You know you have in your back pocket, Keith. Right. You struck him out on that fastball in.
Right. It's
what are you doing?
All young hitters want to hit the fastball. It reminds me of facing Jim Lomborg when he's with the Phillies. When I came up, Jim Lomborg wouldn't throw me a fastball. 2-0, 1-0, 3-1. The backdoor curveball.
Bounce down to Adams. Side retired. Cutter in on the hands of Conforto, the weapon Wainwright uses to get himself through the inning. 3-1 after 6. Road Ahead presented by GMC. Mets have 4 games with the Rockies starting tomorrow, then 4 games with the Yankees, 2 here and 2 at Yankee Stadium. Then the Mets go to Detroit for an interleague series weekend after next. Tommy Pham leads off in the 7th inning. Pham has struck out and fly to center, 0 for 2. Wainwright out on deck. Pham fouls it away. 1-1. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs for more on the Rockies.
Rockies called up one of their top prospects on Monday, outfielder David Dahl. He was the 10th overall pick in 2012. Only played 16 games in AAA this year, but hit nearly 500 with 5 home runs. The Rockies decided to send him up. Actually had his first home run tonight in Baltimore. But why this move is intriguing is it signals one of 2 things for the Rockies. A, maybe they're trying to go for it this year. They're actually playing well, have won 8 of 12, kind of on the fringes of the wild card race right now. Or B, could this be a precursor to moving a Charlie Blackmon? He's been rumored to be on the block, or a Carlos Gonzalez.
Well, certainly if they keep Dahl with the hitters they have got an incredibly potent attack with Arenado and Story and Gonzalez and David Dahl, who has power and speed.
Power and speed, and they hit 81 games at Coors Field. Not this year.
Well, he only had a brief tour at AAA, Dahl, at the start of the year in Double-A. 18 home runs in the minors this year. In his first one tonight. There's ball 4, and Pham draws a leadoff walk. Second time Verrett's walked the leadoff hitter tonight. First time the inning blew up on him, and he gave up 3 runs.
And that's going to get Terry Collins' attention down there. He's going to be watching Verrett very carefully. He had Robles up, who's probably ready, and he's not going to let this game get out of hand.
In Verrett's defense, I thought he threw 2 pitches, and this is ball 3, that were really close and could have been called. They were not by the home plate umpire Mark Wegner. He's hot. I think that's why Walker came in to calm him down.
No guarantee Wainwright's going to be bunting. That's looking for the bunt.
I would think he's bunting here. It's just every game now we're down. Like I said, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Every game's important. The Cardinals are need every win, just as the Mets do. Got to get this runner in scoring position.
Wainwright has walked and popped up tonight, 0 for 1. Runner goes. Throw by Darno. Pham out.
Wow.
So the Cardinals, with the pitcher at the plate, send Pham. Don't know if that was supposed to be a hit and run.
Well, if it was, Wainwright missed the sign.
Well, it's a strike. They're calling it a strike. Yep, he tried. It's just, how are you going to make contact with that on a hit and run? And he's out.
2-6 on the caught stealing.
Roll the dice there. You play a little riverboat gambler. It blew up in the Cardinals' face. You got a 2-run lead. Okay, I can see it. I'd get him over. I'd get that runner in scoring position. Cardinals have hit well with runners in scoring position most of the year.
No, I think Mike Matheny's figuring was that Verrett was going to be around the plate. He wasn't, and so the hit and run is busted.
Is that 2-6 or 2-4, Garrett?
2-6.
Thank you.
0-2 from Verrett, and he strikes out Wainwright for the second out. That's 7 strikeouts for Verrett, a new season high, 1 shy of his career high. Well, there are the wild card standings coming into this game, with Miami having won this afternoon. They shut out Philadelphia 11-0. So they're a game up on the Mets and a game and a half over the Cardinals coming into the night. 11-1 was the final. Sorry, didn't mean to short the Phillies around. It was Adam Conley starting that game for the Marlins.
Pitch into the 7th.
Stanton hit a home run. 115 miles an hour.
Almost knocked down a wall.
It's going to hurt somebody one of these days.
He could.
6 2/3 innings for Verrett. That matches his longest outing of the year. And Garcia takes the changeup off the plate, 1-1. Garcia's been up 3 times, hit the ball to the outfield all 3. This one on the infield. Walker hustles in. Side retired. Well, Verrett's done his job. 7 innings, kept his team in the game. Now the Mets will try and go to work offensively. 7th inning stretch at Citi Field. 3-1 St. Louis. By Cadillac. 11-1 the final in that Miami game. Steven Strasburg now 14-1 as the Nats beat the Indians. Blake Trinan, first big league save in that game. Madison Bumgarner pitched well but lost. Dan Straley pitched better. And the Giants continue to stumble. Dodgers lost as well this afternoon to Tampa Bay and Matt Moore, so the Dodgers stayed 2.5 behind the Giants.
Nice job by that young man Verrett. Outstanding tonight.
See if the Mets can get him off the hook in this game. Travis d'Arnaud leads off the home 7th. Alejandro De Aza on deck to pinch hit. And the first pitch curveball from Wainwright is away. d'Arnaud had a leadoff hit in the 5th inning. Mets have had 8 hits in this game. But they've gone 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Fastball strike to d'Arnaud, 1-1. Wainwright's last 4 starts 3-0, 0.93, and he's been that guy tonight. In trouble, not striking out a ton, but getting it done.
You know, Keith, you were talking about last night that certain hitters, because of their reputations, can sometimes get those pitchers that are close. I think when you have a battery like Molina and Wainwright, the same thing can happen for the pitcher and the catcher.
Absolutely.
See Wainwright checking the count with the home plate umpire Mark Wegner. It's 1-2. And d'Arnaud lines another one to right field for a base hit. So twice tonight d'Arnaud's gone the other way. 95 from Wainwright. That's the hardest pitch he's thrown all night. But another opposite field hit for d'Arnaud, and now De Aza will come up to pinch hit.
4th time the Mets have had a leadoff runner on. The last 3 innings in the row they've had the leadoff runner on and have not been able to capitalize.
d'Arnaud 2 hits to right field.
Well, now De Aza, things have looked a little brighter for Alejandro over the last few weeks. Played the 2nd game yesterday, was on base 3 times in a row, a double, a hit by pitch, and a walk, scored 2 runs, and the Mets 3-1 win. Tying right at the plate in a 3-1 game. And he takes up and away from Wainwright. Curtis Granderson waiting on deck. Nine hits now for the Mets, but just the one skinny run they scored back in the second. Piazza fouls off the cutter, 1-1.
A terrific job by Verrett.
Verrett went 7, allowed 3 runs and 5 hits. He walked 3, struck out a season high 7. Scored just 6 runs in this series so far.
A couple of times there on d'Arnaud and there on De Aza. Wainwright execution left the ball up. Usually a sign of tiring.
Cardinal bullpen is on call. 93 pitches for Wainwright. And De Aza takes a letter high strike. 2-2.
Mark Wegner has been consistently calling the high breaking ball for Wainwright, and you know he's consistent, and it's not egregious. It's close enough. It's fine. You have to pay attention to your umpires.
d'Arnaud at first and nobody out. 2-2 coming, and the curveball misses outside. Full count. Wainwright issued his first walk in the last inning to Walker. Now 3-2 to De Aza. Now the numbers for Alejandro are not pretty, but the at-bats are certainly getting better. d'Arnaud at first and nobody out. Not going. And De Aza lines one into right center field. That's a base hit. d'Arnaud will go first to third. Alejandro De Aza comes through with a pinch hit, and the Mets have the tying runs on base and nobody out.
Almost every pitch of that at bat, Keith, up in the strike zone, including this cutter here.
You can see it's a cutter and not much on it. Just left it out. Soft liner in the gap, and De Aza is starting to be a much more productive.
The Mets have been waiting 3.5 months for this, but July has been a much better month for Alejandro De Aza. So now 10 hits for New York, and hoping this time is the time they can cash in against a potentially tiring Adam Wainwright. See his pitch selection tonight, and is right about his season average in terms of his utilization of his pitches. Granderson's 0 for 3 tonight, flied out and grounded out twice. Infield looking to turn 2. First and third, nobody out. And the first pitch curve in for a strike.
Curtis thought that ball was down. Wegner has been very generous with the curveball. Vertically.
You at all surprised Wainwright's still in this game?
I'm not, only because he's their guy.
And the Cardinal bullpen hasn't been grand.
Now the curve, this one misses, 1-1. They do have a couple of lefties in that bullpen. Thought maybe that Mike Matheny would want one to face Granderson. But he sticks with his ace. d'Arnaud at third, De Aza at first with nobody out. Mm. 2-1.
You know, it's got to be difficult for a manager when you've seen your ace get out of these type of situations time and time again. But is Adam Wainwright the same pitcher he was when he began his helm as the Cardinals manager?
He's been better lately, but he's been in a whole host of trouble tonight, about to throw his 100th pitch. Check swing, call strike on the cutter, and it's 2-2.
Just always wants to get back into the count with that cutter.
That had plenty of plate and it was up.
Have to watch that fastball coming back over to the inside corner that he used on Conforto.
Got 2 strikeouts tonight. They've both been against left-hand batters using that pitch. Two coming. And the curveball pulled foul. Well, Adams was right on the bag, never got off. So if it's a fair ball, he probably has it.
Well, it's the 7th inning. You've got the tying runs on base, the go-ahead run at the plate, and the book is no doubles. So you're right, Gary. He could step on the bag and throw home for the double play, which I did nicely for Ron one time against the Cubs.
Cubs and the Reds.
But you weren't a lumberer. Two to Granderson. Curveball struck him out.
Gosh, he dropped it on him.
3rd strikeout of the night for Wainwright, and it comes in a big spot in the 7th inning.
Jeez, an electric hook.
So he gives him a curveball that he pulls right on the nose foul. So as a batter, you're saying to yourself, I get that pitch again, I'm not going to miss it. Gives it to you, but he takes a little off location down in the dirt. Not in the dirt, but just low.
So now 1 away. Runner still at 1st and 3rd. And here's Cabrera, who's 1 for 3 tonight. And Wainwright soldiers on with Cespedes standing on deck. And Cabrera fouls one off the foot of Molina.
When Terry Collins addressed Wainwright today, he said he's one of those pitchers that can change from pitch to pitch, from start to start, from day to day, from year to year. He has just made the adjustments to keep him at a high level. Not many pitchers can do that.
Came back from Tommy John surgery to win 19 and 20 games. Came back from Achilles injury that kept him out most of last year. And now he's ahead on Cabrera 0-2.
He just, first pitch, he snappy tomed him with the little cutter down and in to get ahead, and then he drops a snappy tom hook on him. Gets 0-2.
Are those related? The 2 snappy?
They are cousins.
You know, it's interesting. He hasn't thrown a very good curveball in about a half hour. And then all of a sudden he's in trouble.
Yep.
And it comes back to him.
And you still got to put him away. Got to put the hitter away.
Cabrera in a 2-strike hole. And as Dribble tries to lay off and does, and Molina stops it.
Beautiful. Nice block by Molina. Look at that. Tight ball game. He's like a cat.
8 Gold Gloves.
Did you see how he positioned himself, though? He was ready to get in the dirt. He knew that's where Wainwright was going to throw that pitch. You've caught each other as a battery this many times. It's almost like you're thinking with the same brain.
205 times they have started together.
Well, Ronnie, what do you feel about this? You got a tight spot. It's 1-2. Do you like your catcher coming out right now? I think kind of making good pitches.
I don't mind him coming out, because I think what Molina is trying to say is they want to be sure about what they want to throw. Okay, he wants to give him a little bit of a rest if he's going to really try to really make that curveball break. Or he might be going out there to say, hey, listen, we've thrown this guy a lot of curveballs in a row. We should really pop him with one fastball to change the speed, to change the eyesight, and then we can go back to a 2-2 if we miss.
Well, we'll see which way it shakes.
Darno and De Aza had back-to-back hits to start the inning. Wainwright struck out Granderson with a curveball. Now he's 1-2 on Cabrera. Molina sets up away, and the curveball rolled over, foul.
That's barely hanging in there on an out 12-6 curveball in the outside corner. This is the beauty of the game right here, when you have a quality pitcher in trouble late and watching him try to extricate himself from this precarious situation. It's just fun to watch for me.
Wainwright's thrown as many as 120 pitches in a game this year. Did that in a complete game shutout against Miami. 1-2. Fastball inside. 2-2 to Cabrera.
Nice try.
94 miles an hour. And then you've got Cabrera up, who broke an 0 for 32 yesterday with runners in scoring position. Maybe he can do it back-to-back days.
Wainwright got him looking at that inside fastball his last time up in the 5th.
That time when he did it, Gary, doubled up inside. I don't think he's going to do it this time. Back to the curveball.
And Cabrera goes down on the curve. Back-to-back strikeouts for Wainwright. 2 men down.
Well, he's still not out of the woods, but this has been a pitching clinic. Look at the spin, Ronnie.
Revolutions of those seams, just beautiful to watch if you love pitching. Ball starts at the letters, ends up at the toes. And there's only a handful of pitchers, Gary, that are left in this game in all of the 30 teams.
The Mets had first and third and nobody out. Now 2 outs later, those runners are still in the same spots. And the Mets have Cespedes coming up.
Just the elevation drop of that pitch by Wainwright.
Out in front, way out in front. So he took something off and still got bite. Tough out here.
Cespedes got a curveball he had last time up. Got a base hit to center. Takes the cutter off the plate for ball 1. Mets are now 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position tonight. 3 for 30 in the series.
Remember, Cespedes' last time up hit a curveball for a base hit. So that weapon of Wainwright might not prove as useful here against Cespedes.
Garneau at third. De Aza at first with 2 out. Taking all the way, a strike. Lowe's home field advantage. Cespedes at home. Good numbers last 19 games. But Cespedes hasn't hit a home run in 3 weeks. Wainwright hasn't given up a home run in 2 months. They're both overdue. Runs that fastball inside, 2-1.
Just notice, though, this is good pitching. And when he misses, he's not missing over the plate. He's missing off the plate. This is just fabulous stuff right here.
In the pregame press conference with Terry Collins, not a faux pas on Terry's part. He was asked about the offense. He said, well, we got to get Cespedes going to carry us. Oh, yeah, and the other 9 guys. He really meant what he said. Cespedes needs to get all the big hits.
Oh, that was one to hit.
Caught the corner.
Cutter up, belt high. Flat, Ronnie. This could have been one to hit right here.
Again, I think it's the height of this pitch. Cespedes didn't think it was a strike.
Molina framed it to get the call from Mark Wegner, but clearly off the plate.
Yep.
Wainwright about to throw his 27th pitch of this inning. Tying runs on base with 2 out. 2-2 to Cespedes. In the dirt, it goes to the backstop. Here comes d'Arnaud to score. And now it's 3-2. A wild pitch by Wainwright. His first wild pitch of the season brings home d'Arnaud with the second Met run of the night.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the hitter up at the plate.
We're going to give De Aza credit for a steal because he was running on the pitch. But the wild pitch by Wainwright brings in d'Arnaud.
You know, the perspective of d'Arnaud, he knows he can come, but it's always dicey here at Citi Field because you just don't know if the ball's going to rebound back to the catcher.
So now the tying run in scoring position with 2 out. 3-2 to Cespedes with Loney on deck. one foul.
Loney on deck, 16 for 30, Gary.
There's no way Wainwright faces him. This is Wainwright's last batter.
Interesting there with Cespedes. Because of the call by home plate umpire Wegner on that cutter away, he went out of the strike zone to make sure he protected the plate.
Wainwright has walked one tonight, struck out 4, but 2 of the 4 have come the last 2 hitters. De Aza at second with 2 out. 3-2. Curveball bounced slowly, foul.
Cespedes staying in there. 2 tough breaking balls. Foul one off to down the right field line. And right there, it just stays in the at-bat, forcing Wainwright to make another pitch.
You know, the game has changed before our eyes, guys, and this is the drama that can unfold when a starting pitcher has to face the lineup and roll it over and face these guys for the 4th time. How many pitches has he thrown to Cespedes? How many tricks does he have up his sleeve, or does he have one more?
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat, the 30th pitch of the inning by Wainwright. And Cespedes fouls back the fastball.
Big, vicious cut. This is a battle.
Wainwright faced trouble all night, was able to squirm free on numerous occasions. Cespedes trying to make sure he doesn't get out of this one. Again, the 3-2. Curveball hit in the air. Deep left center. Back toward the wall. Pham looking up. It's out of here! Yoenis Cespedes gives the Mets the lead. The at-bat of the year for the New York Mets. Yoenis Cespedes wins a heavyweight battle. A 2-1 homer off Wainwright to put the Mets in front.
Wow. Finally, he fought off those 2 pitches. And then finally, Wainwright hung the curve. 9-pitch at bat. What a battle.
Wainwright had not allowed a home run since May the 28th. 2 months later, Cespedes takes him deep. The end of the line for Wainwright. 1 curveball too many, and Cespedes lost it.
Well, I said before that that one weapon against the left-handed hitters, that curveball, was not going to be as useful against Cespedes. He is an outstanding breaking ball hitter, and he did not miss it. And Wainwright knew it right away.
And so did Cespedes.
Now this is the beauty of the game. Too bad we don't have more of it. This is beautiful.
Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Mets lead 4-3 in the 7th. We'll be right back. Effort comes in to face James Loney. Mets now lead 4-3. A 9-pitch marathon with the tying runs on base. And Cespedes got the better of Wainwright.
Wainwright, the first 2 at bats against Cespedes. Cespedes made 2 outs on fastballs. Last 2 times up, curveballs for a single and the 2-run homer.
Diaz throws out Loney to end the inning, but a 3-run bottom of the 7th for New York puts Wainwright on the short end. Cespedes puts the Mets in front with his 22nd. 4-3 New York. What a dramatic bottom of the 7th for the Mets, capped by Yoenis Cespedes' 2-run homer to put the Mets in front off Adam Wainwright.
Well, this is after the fact. It was a battle. It was a 9-pitch at bat for Cespedes and Wainwright, and it was a thing of beauty to watch.
And see how his battery mate Molina feels about him.
Well, the Mets bullpen has been locked down. They'll take a 1-run lead into the 8th. Alejandro De Azu had a big hit in that inning, stays in the game in right. Juan Lagares plays center, and Addison Reed, who has been money, comes on to pitch the top of the 8th.
He was money all year, and he was money yesterday in the 2nd game of that doubleheader. Those were his cheap numbers.
Pitched for 1-2-3-8 with a couple of strikeouts. Cespedes, first home run since July the 5th, and it comes in an enormous spot. Aledmys Diaz leads off, trying to bunt his way on. 0-1. Diaz hit the ball hard 3 times tonight, lined out to third, single to center, double to left center, but they're trying to bunt for a hit against Reed, whom he did not face last night. So Logan Verrett now in position to get a victory. He held his team in the game for 7 innings. And now he's pitcher of record on the long side, and Reed gets a borderline strike, and it's 0-2. There's your People's United Bank tonight's starters.
Those are deceptive numbers on the left there. Mr. Wainwright threw a fantastic ball game. The Cespedes was a little bit better on that at bat.
0-2 to Diaz. And the slider off the plate, 1-2. Stephen Piscotty on deck, then Matt Holliday against Reed.
Wilmer guarding the line. Absolutely no doubles.
Diaz lifts one to right. De Aza hustling back. He has room. 1 out.
You know, you never know till the season is done, but certainly last year Wilmer might have had that tipping point at bat in late July, early August. We'll see if that's a tipping point at bat for Cespedes right there for the Mets.
Well, he's been battling injury, trying to play on 1.5 legs. and that's why you keep him in the lineup.
Yeah.
Scotty fouls one away.
He's a prime-time player. You know, there's not many of them. He's a guy that literally can carry the entire team for a month. He did it already.
That's a big blast right there.
Oh, 1-2 to Piscotty.
Right by him.
Looks like a two-seamer there. Might have ran up and in a little bit on Piscotty.
Oh, 2 from Reed. Scotty fouls it off. SNY Super Slow Motion brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Been a rough series so far for Piscotty. 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. Lays off the slider, 1-2. So Logan Verrett went 7, allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Puts it in the very capable hands of Reed and Familia for the final 6 outs. Although Jerry Blevins is staying busy in the Mets bullpen. Maybe with an eye toward Matt Adams. And Piscotty chases the slider, and he strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. 2 men down. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by New York Community Bank and the NYCB family of banks. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. And by the State Farm agent of the game, Pat Cauley of Glendale. Contact Pat at patcauley.com. Familia up in the 8th inning in case he's needed early. Blevins up as well. Matt Holliday the batter, and he gets jammed and fouls it off. Wow. Holliday has the biggest hit of the night for the Cardinals, a 2-run double back in the 3rd. Cardinals scored all 3 of their runs with 2 out in the 3rd inning. They've had only 1 hit since the 3rd. And Reed quickly ahead 0-2.
Maybe you guys can help me out. Whenever a home run is hit, a big home run, watch the pitcher and the hitter. Their reaction. Where did that ball go?
It hit the facing of the second deck.
Yes, it did.
Whoa.
It was a monster.
It went a long way. 0-2. Matt Adams would be next. That's why Blevins is staying busy. 1-2 to Holliday. Bounces the slider, 2-2. He gets all the glory, but Addison Reed has been the unsung hero of this team. What a year he's had. 2-2 coming. Check swing. Did he go? He did not. 3-2.
Big leg kick. He did not. Good call.
Full count to Holliday. Again gets jammed.
Interesting choice of pitches here in the 1-run game. 3-2 count. 2 outs coming in on Holliday.
Again the 3-2. Little tapper back to Reed. Side retired. Another 1-2-3 inning for Addison Reed. That sends us to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets looking for insurance, leading 4-3. The 8th inning, Mets leading 4-3. Veteran right-hander Jonathan Broxton comes on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, remember Jonathan Broxton from his many good years in Los Angeles when he was the closer there, Cincinnati, and he's moved around, having a pretty good year here with the Cardinals.
It's been a better night for Neil Walker. He's been on base 3 times, 2 singles, a walk. He's driven in a run. And trying to bunt his way on with the third baseman Jerko playing back. 0-1. Well, Adam Wainwright had the game in his favor. A wild pitch cost him a run in the 7th, and then Cespedes lost one to give the Mets the lead. And Wainwright winds up going 6 2/3, allowing 4 runs, 11 hits. And now Broxton trying to hold the fort in the 8th before the Cardinals take on Familia in the 9th. Wilmer Flores on deck, and then the pitcher spot for New York.
Looks like Broxton's developed a new pitch. He really was just that good fastball and slider, either a changeup or a split finger there to Walker.
In the 9th, the Cardinals will have Adams, Jerko, and Molina due up. Aries Familia got his 36th save last night. He'll be going for number 37 tonight. One-two coming to Walker. Looking back grinder toward the middle. Oh, that sneaks through for his 3rd hit of the night. Well, when you get off the schneid, sometimes better things transpire. And Walker didn't hit that ball hard at all, but found his way through.
Well, either way you slice it, he's got himself a 3-for-3 night, and that's got to be big for him. So mired in a deep slump.
He had just 2 hits in 39 at bats when the night began. Now he's got 3 hits in his last 3.
Just the vagaries of the game. If you play Diaz on the other side of second base, it's a 6-3.
Now Wilmer Flores. Kelly Johnson's out on deck to bat for the pitcher. Wilmer's 1 for 3 tonight. Interesting that when Terry Collins made his changes in the last inning, he could have put Lagares in the 7 hole and the pitcher in the 1 spot, but he put the pitcher in the 7 spot because he knew he'd face a right-hander and he wanted to get Kelly Johnson up there instead of Lagares. Well, the Mike Piazza bobblehead is a hot item, and here's a chance to win one. Just follow @SNY on Twitter. Retweet our tweet about the Piazza bobblehead sweepstakes, and you'll be entered to win. Well, it's a big weekend coming up. Not just the bobblehead, but Free Shirt Friday featuring a Mike Piazza replica jersey, which Keith is very nicely modeling for us. Don't drop it.
That's a double fashion tips from you today.
Get me out of uniform. I got bad hands.
Mike Piazza's number will be retired on Saturday night. Ceremony should begin about 6:30, and everybody's urged to get here early and experience what should be a very special night. Check swing Tapper. Broxton will make the play to first, and that moves Walker to second with 1 out. So now Kelly Johnson batting for Addison Reed. Kelly started the first game of the doubleheader last night, went 0 for 4. And there is Senor Familia. 52 regular season saves in a row converted, the 3rd longest streak in Major League history. Number 2 is well within range. Tom Gordon 54. Number 1, it's a long way away. Eric Gagne, 84. 84.
What would they put on the board when he came in the game in LA?
Game over. And it was for years. Geico Sports Night after the post game. Doug Williams knows that our long national nightmare is over. Ryan Fitzpatrick is still a Jet. Thank goodness. What are we going to talk about on all those talk shows now for the next couple of months?
How Geno should be the starting quarterback.
After the first game, probably. Grounded down to first, and Adams takes it himself. 2 out. Walker goes to third. And now Travis d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud got that big 7th inning started for the Mets with his second opposite field hit of the night. Wound up scoring the first run of that inning on a wild pitch before Cespedes' 2-run homer gave the Mets the lead. Takes a strike. Jonathan Broxton, a 2-time All-Star during his days with the Dodgers, saved as many as 36 games for LA. But he's been a journeyman the last few years. Walker at third with 2 out. I mean, there was a time when he was throwing 100 miles an hour.
And he's imposing, you know, he's 6'6", 6'5", 300 pounds.
Those tree trunk legs. Oh, and 2 to d'Arnaud. And Travis gets jammed and gets a meek foul ball. Wow. Again, the 0-2. And fouls back the fastball. For last week, the Mets started their series in Chicago, and we talked about the 3 series coming up: Cubs, Marlins, Cardinals, as being a very critical juncture for this team. Well, they lost 2 out of 3 in Chicago, but they won 2 out of 3 in Miami. And if they can win tonight and take the rubber game of this series, it will have been a successful juncture against 3 contending teams. Still 3 outs to get. Slider on the corner gets d'Arnaud looking to end the inning. So Familia will get a 1-run lead to work with as he comes on for the 9th to try and keep his string going.
That's good.
game the Mets have played this season. The biggest at bat of the season so far. Yoenis Cespedes winning a 9-pitch battle against Adam Wainwright in the bottom of the 7th inning and turning a 3-2 deficit into a 4-3 lead.
Well, the 2 prior pitches to the hanging curveball were nasty breaking balls that he stayed in the at bat. He fouled one off to the right down the right field line. He fouled the other one off down the left field line on the ground, and then got the curveball. Stayed in the at bat, and boy, that was just fun to watch.
And now it's in the hands of Jeurys Familia, going for consecutive save number 53.
Well, I was going to say this is the best game I've watched all season long, but only if Jeurys can finish it off.
Matt Adams will lead off. Adams had an RBI double back in the 3rd inning that at the time gave the Cardinals a 3-1 lead. Since that double, the Cardinals have only had 1 more hit over the ensuing 5 innings. And the first sinker sails outside for ball 1. Adams, then Gyorko and Molina. Adams a powerful hitter. Gyorko has been hot with the home run ball. And Molina, well, Molina. Adams fouls it off. 1-1. One to Adams, and he throws a sinker low. 2-1. Logan Verrett went 7, allowed 3 runs, 5 hits. He's in line for his first win in a dog's age. Familia trying to nail it down. Madison Reed a perfect 8th. 2-1 coming. Adams swings over the sinker, and it's 2-2.
Nasty.
Very nice.
It's not only the movement, it's not only the velocity, but it's the late movement.
Two in the air to left field. Cespedes eases back. 1 out.
Ronnie, all 3 strikes were nasty sinkers down and away where the big guy couldn't get it in pull.
That's right.
And you see where Familia sits. 52 consecutive regular season saves converted. His last 16 last year, his first 36 this year.
Have to be careful here. Gyorko, 7 of his 14 home runs have come on the first pitch,
including both of his home runs yesterday. And he's been hot. 7 home runs in his last 9 games. So he starts him off with a slider away. Gyorko is 0 for 3 tonight. 2 ground balls and a strikeout against Logan Verrett. And now Familia behind 2-0.
Familia's motion is really just the violent contortion with a timed release. Just a big athlete getting everything into it every time.
He's deceptively enormous.
I don't think so.
Not if you stand next to him.
Nothing deceptive about it.
I mean, if you just look at him on your TV, he probably doesn't look quite as big as he is, but he is a big, big man.
I mean, just so much torque put on that front leg, push off of that back leg.
Does Gyorko get the green light? 3-0?
No.
And he walks on 4 pitches, and now the tying run is on base for Molina. Coming up when we're done here, it's WB Mason postgame live. Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa will have all the interviews, the commentary, the highlights right after the game right here on SNY. Randal Grichuk is going to run for Jed Jerko carrying the tying run at first. So here's Molina, who's 1 for 3 tonight. Molina has grounded into 14 double plays this year, second most in the league. But he drives one deep center field, headed toward the gap, and that's going to go all the way to the wall. Grichuk's on his way to third. Lagares digs it out. Grichuk being waved home. The relay throw to the plate is not in time, and the Cardinals have tied the game. Jeurys Familia's save streak is ended at 52 on the RBI double off the bat of Yadier Molina, and the Cardinals have drawn even 4-4.
Wow.
After the 4-pitch walk to Jerko, Molina was ready to hit, jumped all over a sinker that didn't sink.
First ball fastball hitting, not wasting any time. You're right, Ronnie. Just kind of stayed straight. And this is a beautiful ball game. A beautifully played ball game.
Yadier Molina, who has broken Mets hearts before, does some breaking again.
Well, this is a clutch hit. Grichuk got a little late. He's a little tardy making that decision.
Well, the 4-pitch walk to Jerko comes back to bite Familia. His first blown save of the season. Now Jeremy Hazelbaker batting for Tommy Pham in a lefty-righty switch with the go-ahead run at second and 1 out. Hazelbaker hits a comebacker. He's got the runner trapped. Throw to third is low, but Flores digs it out and makes the tag. Oh, that's a game saver right there by Wilmer Flores as Familia spiked the throw and Flores bailed him out.
Terrible base running by Molina here. No. And this could have been an absolute disaster. Nice pick by Wilmer. Oh my word, that's a huge base running blunder from the veteran.
Many base running blunders by the Cardinals in this series.
So that takes the go-ahead run out of scoring position. Colton Wong will be the pinch hitter batting for the pitcher. So now Wainwright is off the hook. Logan Verrett can no longer win, and now Familia just trying to keep this game tied to get the Mets up in the bottom of the ninth. Wong played second base in the nightcap last night, went 0 for 3. Hazelbaker the runner at first with 2 out. A position that the Mets have not found themselves in all year. Familia let one get away. I mean, he had a 4-run lead in the game that he lost, but first time in a save opportunity that he has not been able to protect the lead.
Well, you know, during this streak, he's had many instances where the walks have not hurt him, and finally they've come to roost.
Well, you know, you had a situation where a ground ball double play is what he needed. You had a guy at the plate who hits into a lot of double plays. He just didn't make the pitch. Slider Wong went around in the half swing, and it's 0-2. Seth Maness on the right. Sungwon the closer for the Cardinals on the left. Probably see Maness if the game's tied. Hazelbaker at first. He goes. The 0-2 to Wong is pulled foul. Hazelbaker, who's got 4 steals this year, taken off on the 0-2 pitch. A couple of things tonight that have not happened in a long time. Wainwright giving up a home run. Familia blowing a save.
Wong hasn't hit like he can, but he's got some pop too, so you have to make your pitches.
Up and away, 1-2. One and two to Colton Wong. Hazelbaker runs, hit down the left field line. Cespedes watches it go out of play. Hazelbaker was running on the last pitch. Again, the 1-2 to Wong. Hazelbaker runs. It's outside. The throw by d'Arnaud and safe. Close play, but Hazelbaker steals the base, his 5th of the year, and now the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Just a terrific ball game here. Right time to try to steal it. Just got in there. Base hit away from taking the lead now.
Cardinals 4 runs, 6 hits. The Mets 4 runs, 12 hits. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming from Familia to Wong. He stays alive. Fouled off the slider.
Tell you what, the Cardinals are putting some at bats against Familia. They're making him work. They're fighting off some tough sliders.
Hazelbaker at second and 2 out. 2-2 to Wong. And he lines one down the left field line. That's a fair ball, and the Cardinals take the lead. Hazelbaker in to score. Wong heads to second. Cespedes' throw is not in time. Colton Wong with an RBI double. And the Cardinals have scored twice against Familia in the 9th to go in front 5-4.
Wow, that is a heck of an at-bat. Pitches up, Ron, up and away.
And kept it fair.
Beautiful hitting. This is just, I tell you what, this has been a fine ball game. Both teams are fighting tooth and nail. This is just so much fun. I know you Met fans are not happy right now, but the Mets are behind, but this is baseball. It's quality baseball.
Colton Wong, who looked like a budding star, lost his second base job, got sent to the minor leagues. They brought him back as a part-time outfielder. He gets an at-bat in a big spot against a closer who hadn't blown a save all year, and he puts St. Louis in front with a big 2-out hit.
He hasn't had many moments like that all season long, and you could tell by his reaction what it meant to him. And a big, huge steal from Hazelbaker to get in scoring position.
Dan Warthen has been to the mound to talk to Familia, who will remain in. There's nobody up in the Mets bullpen. Greg Garcia is coming up. Mets now down 5-4. Mets will have 9-1-2 in the order coming up in the bottom of the 9th. De Aza, Lagares, and Cabrera, with Cespedes due up 4th in the inning. Garcia is going to be intentionally walked, and they'll go after Aledmys Diaz, the right-hand hitter, instead.
I don't know about that.
He's a right-hand hitter, Diaz, but he's a better hitter.
Yeah.
I'm a tad surprised here.
It all started with a 1-out walk to Jedd Gyorko, a 4-pitch walk that put the tying run on base. And then Yadier Molina, first pitch swinging, drove one to deep center for a double to tie the game. A base running mistake by Molina appeared to bail the Mets out of the inning, as Flores made the play at third after a bad throw by Familia, but then the stolen base by Hazelbaker and the big hit for Wong.
Yeah,
Huge stolen base.
If Molina had stayed his place, then that's what Hazelbaker did. He just replaced Molina where he should have been, and with more speed.
And there's ball 4, so Garcia gets the intentional pass. And now Diaz, who's 2 for 4 tonight, a single and a double will come up with 2 on and 2 out. Seung-Hwan Oh now throwing like he means it in the Cardinals bullpen. Their closer getting ready for the bottom of the 9th. Familia now trying to keep this a 1-run game. And Diaz takes a strike. .24 pitches deep in this 9th inning for Familia. Diaz chases the slider, and it's 0-2. Wong at second, Garcia at first with 2 down. And Diaz chases the slider for strike 3, and the inning over. 362 days after his last regular season blown save, Jeurys Familia's streak of 52 in a row comes to an end. Yadier Molina ties the game with a double. Colton Wong puts the Cardinals in front with a double. And now the Mets come up for their final turn it back, trailing 5-4. Slow motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Seung-Hwan Oh on to try and save it for St. Louis. Alejandro De Aza, who had a big hit for the Mets in the 7th, comes up for the 2nd time and takes a fastball strike from O. Changes for the Cardinals. Colton Wong, who had the go-ahead hit, stays in at 2nd. Greg Garcia moves to 3rd. Jeremy Hazelbaker stays in left. Randall Grichuk in center. Matt Holliday came out. Ball and a strike to De Aza, who singled, stole a base, and scored a run in the 7th.
The numbers for O saved the first game of the doubleheader yesterday for the Cardinals.
Gave up a leadoff hit to Granderson, but then got the fly ball double play when Granderson tried to tag and go to 2nd, and that got him through. De Aza lays off, and it's a call strike, 1-2. Juan Lagares is on deck. Remember, he came on for defense, went into Granderson's spot in the batting order, then has Dribble Cabrera behind him. That's need to get somebody on to get Cespedes up.
Much the same we saw from Mo yesterday. Mostly fastballs in the mid-90s range.
Mets will need to get one batter on base to get Cespedes up.
De Aza at the end of June was hitting 158. In July, he's hitting 348. He hits one out to left, but right at Hazelbaker, and that's the first out. So De Aza retired, 1 down in the last of the 9th. And here's Lagares coming up for the first time in this game. Juan started the 2nd game of the doubleheader yesterday, went 1 for 3, hit by a pitch, stole a couple of bases. Seung-Hwan Oh, a star in the Korean League and in the Japanese League, known as the final boss. It's a great closer's nickname. And a fastball strike to Lagares.
With the injury to Trevor Rosenthal, they're going to need him to be the final boss down the stretch.
Outfielders fairly deep, shading to the opposite field on Lagares.
And Juan chases the cutter, and it's 0-2.
There's that good slider. And there's that defense. Now they're even moving over now with 2 strikes. The outfield even shifted over to the opposite field. Piscotty really guarding the line and right. You see right there Piscotty in the upper right hand part of your screen, right down that line, and Grichuk in center field really shading over, and Hazelbaker way in the gap in left field.
Cabrera on deck. Lagares goes down swinging. 2 men down.
Blew it by him, Ron.
Yeah, just fastball up, swung underneath it.
So the Mets are down to their final out of the 9th. Needing a bloop and a blast. Cabrera trying to play blooper with the Mets' best blaster on deck. As Dribble 1 for 4 tonight. Ball 1.
They will take a blast first.
That can work that way.
He's throwing fastballs by people.
1-2 to Cabrera.
I'll tell you what, these fans today that came to the ballpark witnessed a really fine ball game. And it's not over yet.
Mets are down to their final strike. 1-2 coming. Cabrera lifts one to left. Hazelbaker is there. And the Cardinals take the rubber game of the series. Familia's first blown save of the season after Cespedes gave the Mets the lead with a home run off Wainwright in the 7th. The Cardinals rally for 2 in the 9th and beat the Mets 5-4.
Well, just one of the great games that we've seen this year. Just a well played game, seesaw affair, tremendous at bat from Cespedes. Familia blowing his first save in quite some time, and the Cardinals, you got to give them credit. They bounced back with 2 in the 9th.
So the story should have been Cespedes and that big 2-run home run, but it wasn't because Familia wasn't able to hold the lead, walked Jerko, and then doubles to Molina and Wong, and that was the end of the game.
Mets have been 48-0 this year when they led after 8 innings, but this is the first one that they let get away in the 9th. Game summary brought to you by StubHub. Familia had saved 52 in a row in the regular season since that rain-soaked game against the Padres late last July. He takes his first blown save and his second loss of the season. Kolten Wong with the go-ahead RBI with 2 out against Familia in the top of the 9th as St. Louis takes 2 out of 3 in the series from the Mets. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.